Uhler and Moats are on the air. This is the Steelers Blitz on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Well, Steelers Nation, you know what time it is. It's time for the Steelers Blitz. That means you're tuned into the Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. That means I'm Arthur Moats, that's Wesley Uhler. One has a decade of NFL experience, the other an immaculate head of hair. But it'll be up to you to figure out who is who at the end of this thing. But the beautiful part is we keep the show interactive, regardless of if we are live or in the pre-recorded studio. But the best way to rock out and get your questions, comments, or concerns about anything Steelers related or show related or just in general is to hit us up on the twitter.com, what the new kids are calling X, and that's at TheBody52.
The body.
And at Wesley Uhler.
The good hair.
And might I say, that hair is looking mighty fire today. Mighty fire, brethren.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The warmer weather, the nice weather, it's better for the skin. It's better for the hair.
Nice weather. What is that? What you is nice is nice-ish today. I feel like we go through these spurts of it looks really nice, and then like 20 minutes it looks really dark and like tornado.
You and I are a
and then it
perfect
gets like that really nice
representation
again.
of the Pittsburgh weather because
Like, bro.
I'm dressed like t-shirt and shorts, like it's like a sunny spring day.
You were on the hot side.
You got a hat and a coat on like it's a rainy spring day.
It was rainy and windy. My hat got blew off and I got rained on. Yeah, man.
And we're both right because it's been both of those days so far today in Pittsburgh. That's just the beauty of the middle of April.
Within 10 minutes of me being rained on and my hat blowing off, it was back sunny and beautiful again. Yeah, can't make this up, man. Can't make this up. But that is the beauty of Pittsburgh, and that's why we love to stay here, man. Shout out to the 4 seasons. Emphasis on all 1, 2, 3, 4 of them things. All right.
I'm enjoying these next ones that are on the docket here, though.
Oh yeah, man. I like when they say spring on deck, summer in the hole. Let's go.
That. Good times.
Let's go.
Where are my golf clubs at?
Come on now, man. We almost there now, and it's almost time. It is almost time for our annual, Arthur Moats McGuire Memorial Classic. Golfing that thing out there, one of my favorite times of the year, man. Hey, look, man,
practicing and watching the Masters. I'm ready.
We done got good. We done low key went from being god awful to kind of good. Like we know what we doing now when we go out there.
If you want to say that you're kind of good at golf, that's fine. Don't you put that on me because
I was speaking as a collective. I said we, not me. We.
I think I'm not terrible, which I'll take. I'm not terrible at golf, and that's really all I ever strove to be was just not terrible.
Wes, this is simple math. You're not terrible times my not terrible equals halfway good. Everybody knows that.
Deal.
So we are a halfway good golf tandem. If me and you play a scramble against my wife and your wife, we should win with confidence. You catch what I'm saying? Yeah. I think we're evolving. We're evolving, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting better.
Yeah.
Knocking down putts.
1% better at a time. All right.
Working on the mid-range game.
Yeah. That's it.
Short
we
game,
getting
long
there
game.
though. We feeling good though. We feeling real good. But I wish I felt real good about everything. And I'm sorry, I don't. I have a grievance. I have a concern. So I figured I'd just go to the person that would hear me out. The person that actually likes to listen to me talk. Because sometimes wife would be like, I talk too much. All right, sometimes she says that. But you don't ever tell me that, so I appreciate you. But I was on the internet. You know how the internet gets. They say there's a lot of information on the internet. Now, sometimes the information that I hear when I go to the store isn't the information I get on the internet because they don't know people in different, parts of the world, parts of the country. Some people up in Minnesota. Who lives up in Minnesota? Yeah, I know you've been.
Lizzo?
And what's the team? It's the team that plays up in Minnesota
the
too,
Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that squad. So we don't always have, reporters. We don't always have people, that are privy to the info that's going on up there. So I had to go to the internet. Now the internet gonna give me info, okay? And the internet gave me some information that I wasn't too fond of because prior to that search on the internet, everything was telling me that Rodgers, essentially locked up. Man, he coming to us. Don't worry about drafting no quarterback, bro. Don't even think about it. We got our guy. He's locked in. I know he ain't signed yet. I know we're waiting. McAfee show came and went. Everybody showed up but Rodgers.
Literally.
Literally everybody but Rodgers. Now I'm a week away from the draft, and I'm just like, ooh, all right, okay. Still don't have our dance partner just yet. But it was assumed that this is, a done deal. Don't worry about it. Until recently, like I said, my internet search showed that Rodgers has potentially, some other thoughts in terms of landing places. And this was with the Minnesota Vikings, where the report had came out that he specifically was, open to a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings, specifically due to his fondness of Kevin O'Connell and, just their offensive system there. But the big kicker, because we know that they have JJ McCarthy, former first round draft pick from a year ago, got hurt in rookie minicamp time frame and missed pretty much all of last season due to surgery. But he said that he was 100% open and on board with being a mentor to JJ McCarthy as well. And to me, obviously, that was a little bit of a changer because a lot of the thought process surrounding Rodgers, surrounding him with other quarterbacks, were that he wasn't open to being a mentor. It's him or nothing. So if you have a young quarterback, if you're considering drafting a quarterback or anything along those lines, that is going to bump heads with a Aaron Rodgers up until this report. So obviously I had to ask you, man, what were your thoughts? What did you make of this? Or maybe I'm overreacting to it. Maybe it means nothing. Maybe he was playing ha 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 with him.
Yeah, so this story's interesting to me because a lot of the details around kind of what he pitched to the Vikings, I think, is different than what we've all expected things might be with the Steelers or elsewhere in terms of the length of the contract. And is he going to want to go somewhere that has a young first-round draft pick quarterback that's chomping at the bit to get going? And the second he has, a couple bad quarters in a row or isn't playing his best football for a game or two, the fan base is going to be screaming for the young first-round pick on the bench. The part of this that is interesting to me with Aaron Rodgers is the timing of this coming out now. That, the details of his pitch to the Vikings and all those details in it, is that just coming out now because that's how long it took for the details of the story and the reports and the journalistic side of things like that? Is it just coming out now because maybe there's been more conversations with the Vikings and Aaron Rodgers more recently than some people thought? Is it just coming out now because a certain party is trying to kind of influence a narrative or change or sway public opinion? I'm curious about that. But it is interesting that seemingly the detail of only being there for a year and mentoring a young first-round pick quarterback, at least by reports, were something that Aaron Rodgers was willing to do. Because, again, there's a lot of steps still to get there, but that could be a realistic possibility here in Pittsburgh a little over a week from now.
I'm open to it. I like it a lot. I'm still just, I feel like he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out with us.
Sure.
I hate that feeling, man. I hate that feeling. Absolutely hate it, man. Especially at that position. Like, yo, why? Why are you playing? Why?
It is crazy that day that he visited the Steelers was almost a month ago. I mean, it was March 21st, that Friday.
Think about that, man.
And you're right. It was kind of like, okay, well, this is going to get done.
6-hour visit, man.
Okay,
It's tax day now.
It didn't get done the next next few days. Okay, whatever. It's Aaron Rodgers, okay, whatever. Okay, well, it didn't get done the next week. Okay, well, Pat McAfee's coming to Pittsburgh soon, and maybe there'll
Yeah.
be something there. And then Pat, like we're a month away since that visit almost now.
Bro, we're closer to the draft than we are to that visit. Think about that, man.
Way closer.
Yeah. I
So
don't like
I
that feeling,
don't
man.
know.
I don't like the feeling.
I am back to squarely like the only thing I know for sure at this point as it relates
It's
to
death
Aaron
and
Rodgers.
taxes. I know death and taxes.
It is
He's
tax
gonna
day.
pass away at some point. He's gonna have to pay taxes at some point. All right. Everybody got even Wesley Snipes had to pay taxes. Everybody
You
pay
didn't
taxes. That's
feel
what I do
if
know,
you
man.
Wesley Snipes, Wesley Uhler, we all pays taxes.
Everybody gonna pay taxes, bro.
That's how they got Al Capone. Mozi was
All
taxes.
right. All right. I'm trying to even LeBron and Michael Jordan pay taxes. Okay.
They better.
Everybody pay taxes.
They better. They're gonna
Everybody
be in the
pay
news
taxes.
for the wrong reasons.
All right. Everybody pay taxes, bro.
The only thing, and I am more adamant of this, the days and the hours tick away, is that as it relates to Aaron Rodgers' future and the Steelers' future at the quarterback position, and obviously how those two things are intertwined at the moment, nothing will surprise me. There is no potential outcome at this point that would surprise me, because it's just I don't know how you could, unless you're in those four walls and really, really into the conversations. I don't know how you could have a beat on any of this that's going on.
Unless your name is Aaron Rodgers, how do you have a beat on it? If you're Coach Tomlin, how do you have a beat on this? If you're Mr. Rooney, how do you have a beat on this? Omar Khan, how? This is the Aaron Rodgers effect. This is what a lot of people were afraid of dealing with. And we are in the heart of it. And this sucks, man. Because you're kind of in this limbo. It's like, yes, he is a great player. And yes, he could still provide a lot for you. Hence the reason why we're still invested in his employment status for next year. But the flip side, it's like, man, you're holding everything hostage right now. Like, or you second guess every decision. Do you draft a young quarterback? All right. If I draft him at 21, what does that do to him? Does he look at our 21 the same way he's looking at the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy? Or does he look at our situation differently because, hey, JJ is already under contract there. You already drafted him. He was hurt. So, hey, now you're coming in to play hero, save grace, and JJ to save, make it better for you. You get a chance to learn from one of the best quarterbacks of all time. That's very different than, hey, Rodgers, we're assigning you to be our quarterback, but I'm still going to draft this guy on top of that, too. That, to me, is a little bit different of a message. One, it's already here. You're just, blended family, essentially. Another one is you and I had this baby on me. No. Them two way different things, man.
That's
way
a good point.
different things.
Very good point.
And I just don't know. And this is the problem with how Rodgers is. It's really hard to have a beat on him in that sense. But to go into the draft just trusting that he's going to sign, I don't necessarily feel that. I don't feel like that, man. Wait, break out the meter before we go to break real quick, man. Break out the meter because we're about to go to break.
Yeah,
break out the meter, bro.
You're right, because I think it's been probably a week or two since we've done this.
Break out.
One of the first things
last time we did it was for who? Why I'll do it again. Don't you dare me! I'll do it again.
You want to see me do it again?
I'll do it.
One of the first things we came up with early days of this show, all the way back in 2018, was the CCWP meter. That's calm, concerned, worried, panicked when we discuss an issue like this. I'm worried. Yeah, I'm worried. I think it's honestly, I think it's probably, it's going to be tough for me to panic because, the Steelers.
Time out.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
you
worried.
downplay your worry. You was trying to say, go. It was like you watching a person say, "Are you okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm good," but their head shaking no. It's like, yo, I'm all right.
Wes, blink 3 times if they're holding you captive, Wes. Blink 3 times.
Oh man. Oh, that was yeah. So yeah, worried is appropriate.
Worried. I'd say worried. I don't think because I had to. The reason for my pause there for a split second was
man.
It would like I don't know if I could get to panicked. I think that meter's about as ratcheted up as it could be. Hey, if Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be a Steeler, he's not going to be a Steeler.
Yeah.
You got Mason Rudolph. You're going to add somebody else somewhere. You could have a worse situation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I could get much more kind of on that meter than where I'm at. But I think it's probably safe to say worried. This is a big kind of thing here that's lingering.
I think in the 7 years now that we've known each other, there has only been one time that we've been panicked. And we got to break that news live.
Yes.
What's happened?
Was that when Ben Roethlisberger was done 2 games into the season?
And we were they're like, he's done. We're like, what?
We were staring down what? Mason, who we feel much differently about Mason now than we did 7 years ago. And Duck Hodges, a guy who was doing duck calls, like selling duck calls a couple months ago.
That for the year? 2 games in? No way. What you mean for the year?
So we had Super Bowl hopes and aspirations, and now we might be going with this guy who is nicknamed Duck.
Red button. Push the red button. Whatever you do, push the red button now. Push it. Push it.
That's it. Yeah, that's the only time you're ever allowed to go to panic is when you have a franchise quarterback and he picks up a serious injury. That's the only time that you could go to panic.
Oh yeah. We were freaking out that day. Oh, we were freaking out. And some of y'all have been around long enough to remember how we were on that show. And some of y'all, absolutely, y'all remember how y'all felt during that day. That was a day that will forever live in still.
We had such a fun show planned that day too.
Oh man,
that's the way it always happens.
Yeah, that was.
I should have saved the show outline from that day that we were supposed to do before the Ben Roethlisberger news broke, and then one day randomly in the middle of the summer we could do that show that we never did.
Yeah,
back in 2019 or whenever that was.
That was funny, man. What a time! What a time! But we are going to take a break real quick, man. So don't touch that dial. I'm Arthur Moats. That's Wesley Uhler, and this is the Steelers Blitz.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Arthur Moats, Wesley Uhler back in the saddle. Steelers Blitz, of course. And as we were putting a bow on this here Aaron Rodgers element of it, we know that obviously, we had another quarterback that did come into visit last week. Shout out to Shedeur Sanders, man. Took his official top 30 visit with the black and gold. Everything appeared to be good with that. And obviously it started a lot more momentum on the Shedeur to Pittsburgh, Shedeur falling to 21 conversation up until good old Derek Carr. Shout out to good old Derek.
It is funny how every offseason it feels like we come back to Derek Carr being part of the Steelers quarterbacks. Whether it was like post Ben talking about signing him or just how his signing with New Orleans affected things, and then now his injury. Derek Carr's been he's been finding a way to get into this Steeler Nation radio conversation every year.
He's appearing inevitable, it seems. All roads lead back to Derek Carr. Heck, we even lost our star receiver to Derek Carr. If you know, you know. All right. Talking about some ABDC. Yeah, sound good. But
that was a fun week.
Yeah. But everything was full head of steam. Shedeur more than likely falling all the way down to pick 21 up until reports came out this weekend that Derek Carr is dealing with a shoulder injury of the significant variety that more than likely will require some type of surgical procedure that could have him sidelined for a undisclosed amount of time. Now, some reports are that he'll be fine by the season. Others are that it could linger and he be compromised. But obviously, they pick a lot higher than we do. If I remember correctly, I believe it's what?
Ninth.
Ninth? Yeah. So with that, all the eyes then went back to who are the top quarterback prospects. Okay, Cam Ward, everybody likes him as a one. Okay, cool. He's either going to go to Tennessee, he's going to go to Cleveland. Got you. Then after that, it was who's the second best prospect. Okay, Shador. Does Shador make it past?
Mm-hmm.
So convos have been it was circulating around the internet. Shout out to the internet. But
We've
they
talked
want to
about a
know:
lot about the internet
are we
so far.
supposed to move, or do we stay? Do you run the risk of
Yeah.
the Saints potentially, making that move, or do you trust God? Trust God that
So
He's gonna fall, and then that blessing's gonna land in your lap.
so yeah, so I am not naive. I understand why this is a conversation and makes a lot of sense with Derek Carr being injured in the Saints draft position, and then from our standpoint of how that relates to the Steelers. My initial reaction, though, when I first, when this kind of got brought up as a conversation piece this week, was if you're the Saints and you like Shador Sanders and you were going to take him at pick 9, wouldn't you do that anyways, whether Derek Carr was healthy or not? Like I realize I didn't just articulate that in the smoothest way possible, but if the Saints thought Shador Sanders was good enough and they liked him enough to take him 9th overall, shouldn't that have been the case before Derek Carr got injured and after Derek Carr got injured? Because Derek Carr's in
But
his late 30s.
my only question would be: is this though? Why would you have restructured Derek Carr's contract prior to all this? Then
Now, that's a fair point. That doesn't seem like a guy that you're going to bring in
catch what I'm
somebody
saying?
in the top 10 and then
Yeah,
get rid of Derek Carr a year from now.
because you just restructured his deal a month ago. And that was
Did
why
just
when the
restructure his deal a
report
month
about
ago.
the shoulder come out, we're like, well, hey, I'm sure you ain't told them
Yeah,
about that shoulder when you restructured. Otherwise, they wouldn't have restructured you. They would have
it's
let
a
it
very
sit
good
as
point.
is,
Right.
right? But now you get the new deal and you're like, hey, my shoulder, I woke up and it just fell off. You're like, hold on, that's not how this works. So yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know how the Saints view that. Because
Yeah,
one part of me says, yeah, I'm with you. If you want Shador, you were going to get Shador regardless if Carr was on your roster. But that doesn't say that when you're restructuring Carr and now you're pushing money to the front and saying, hey, man, let's get this thing rolling. No, that tells me you're still thinking that you can compete with Carr and that's going to be your guy at least for this year, next year. Like, otherwise, you're
that's
not
what
about to do that to your cap. Yeah.
he's got 2 years now until they
Right.
could get to void years. So he's at least
Right.
got
You see what I'm
25
saying?
and 26, 2 more
Right. I'm like,
seasons.
you
Yeah.
don't do that to draft a guy at 9 and move on from him because otherwise you're gonna look like how the Falcons look with Kirk Cousins, where you got the young quarterback and Michael Penix, but you got this in their case $40+ million quarterback sitting behind him. Like, what is this? Yeah.
It's not great. It's not great.
Mm-mm.
And especially it's become like the newest popular adage in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But like the way to really build up your roster is get that rookie quarterback, and then you've got a couple years
Yeah.
of a high level quarterback where you're not breaking the bank to
Mm-hmm.
pay him. When you've got Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins sitting on the bench, that kind of takes away the
It's
point of being
counterproductive
able
to
to
the argument.
being
Yeah.
able to load up
Heck
your
yeah.
roster around your rookie
You
quarterback.
pay those guys the best, the lowest end of the best deals because they
Yes.
are really good players. But when you
Yes.
pay them their market value, that's when they look out of place. That's why Kirk Cousins, that's why Derek Carr, we look at them and we're like, I don't like that because, yeah, they're worth 40 plus, but 40 plus, they're not good enough to be force multipliers to that level. So you really want to pay them in that 20 to 30 range. But when you look at what a 20 to 30 range quarterback makes, you're like, yeah, that guy's a lot better than this dude.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are. You're stuck in this like purgatory of you're a good to really good player, but not a great player at the position where I need greatness if I'm paying you that type of money.
Right.
So it's like I get even why the Saints would do the restructure to Derek Carr because it's like, yes, he is better than 80% of these quarterbacks that are in the NFL right now. 80% of them, he's better than them. But the drop off between him to the top 10% and the top 5%, you're like, oh my God.
Pretty big. Yeah, pretty drastic.
Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, you're better than 75 to 80% of these quarterbacks walking around the earth. Not even just NFL, the earth. It is like, but the difference between Kirk Cousins to the top 10 to that 5%, you're like, oh, what? How? But money wise, you got to pay them all in the same
You
range.
gotta pay. Yeah, exactly right.
Come on, man.
It is a heck of a conundrum. It's a huge conundrum, and it's it's not. This is not a unique situation. I mean, we've seen this often. I think lately.
Hmm.
So yeah, you're right. When you lay down, when you get further into the weeds, when you get into the details, the minutia, um, it obviously does make sense as to why this would drastically sway what they're going to do at pick 9, meaning the health of Derek Carr being the why. I listen, I'll be honest with you. I always thought, or still think, that the idea of Shador Sanders falling to pick 21 was not impossible, but was long odds. I just we
What
see
makes you
this.
feel long odds though is what I want to know. Like when you look at some of these teams that are picking,
Oh, I know. They don't.
yeah, I'm like the way they match up. It's like once you
like
get past Saints,
Jacksonville,
it can get weird.
the Patriots have their guy, the Jags have their guy, or at least think they have their guy. Jags have their guy, Raiders have their guy, Jets have Justin Fields, they got their guy. Carolina, Bryce Young, the Saints at 9, like we just talked about. Okay,
Raiders just paid Geno 100 plus.
Paid.
100 plus.
Paid.
So the Raiders are going to take Shador to sit behind Geno Smith? Like, no. You see what I mean?
Bears at 10. They ain't moving off of Caleb Williams after 1 year.
You see the face, right? Oh, Niners. They're going to move off of Brock Purdy.
11?
They're going to move off of Brock Purdy. Move off of Brock Purdy. Sure.
Cowboys
Dak
at 12.
Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Sure. Let's move off of Dak.
Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins at 13.
You catch what I'm saying? You okay?
Colts 14.
You have Anthony Richardson, and you brought in who? Who'd you just bring in? Daniel Jones. You paid him $14 million.
Brought in Daniel Jones. Yeah, I don't see it.
And AR, who you just drafted in the top 10 2 years ago.
Falcons at 15, no. Cardinals at 16, no. Bengals at 7. Bengals, yeah, right. Seahawks at 18. Just gave Sam Darnold a bunch of money.
40 plus.
And then Baker Mayfield in Tampa, and Bo Nix, rookie, just took the Broncos to the playoffs in his first year and won double-digit games.
So tell me where it's weird. Tell me where there's a hard fire stopgap to where you're taking a first-round quarterback who you know for certain you are not going to play for at least 2 years, because all those quarterbacks you named are at least 2 years under. They at least got 2 years to fail, at least.
And there's not anybody immediately after the Steelers that would be looking to jump them either. Not the Chargers with Herbert, not the Packers with Love, Vikings.
Not the Vikings, not the Texans.
With CJ Stroud. The Rams have Stafford still.
Baltimore,
no chance. Detroit, no chance. Washington, get out of here.
Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philly.
Here.
So once again, what's that team that needs this quarterback? If Tennessee is going to take Cam Ward, Cleveland, but if Cleveland doesn't want to go him at 2, Giants, you just signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
Just signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
Is Shador, and you know I love Shador. Is Shador beating out Russ or Jameis in a training camp going into week 1 this year?
No.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Don't see it. You talking about a dude that has already been a top 10 quarterback throughout his whole NFL tenure, Russ, and then another dude who has flirted with elite traits at times in production with Jameis.
Man, I know this is totally, and I know we got to get to break in like a minute or two, and this is totally off topic, but I feel like the Browns should trade down. I don't want to give them any ideas.
Fair.
I don't want to give them any ideas.
But if you're the Browns, you trade down, are you going to get Abdul Carter or are you going to get Travis Hunter? Or do you draft Cam Ward?
That's a great, I guess I kind of.
Or are you drafting Cam Ward? Or are you going to draft Cam Ward?
Well, if you're the Browns,
take quarterback.
If you're the Browns
and take quarterback, I'm looking at Cam.
Then that becomes very interesting. I'm with you. Or even if Tennessee does take Cam, you look at it and you go, "Hey,
Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, one or the other.
The best player in this draft." Like,
yeah, one or the other. And I'm not tripping. And guess what? And when round 2 hits, I'm picking right at the beginning of that one too, right? So I feel like I'm gonna have another first round caliber player. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Isn't this why we love it? We're getting close here. I mean, about 9 days away, we'll get answer to some of these things soon.
Because it is becoming more real. And this is also why when we can strategize like this, but at the same time, you could have a scenario where we didn't think the Falcons would draft Michael Penix when you give Kirk Cousins $100 million in guaranteed money, and you
No one
draft
saw.
Michael.
No one saw that
No
coming.
one saw that, and I think that that's the beauty of the draft and why we enjoy it. Yeah, there are certain things that we think are higher probabilities or less probabilities based on our information and how we study this thing, but there are still some outlier scenarios that happen where dudes will risk it all. We've seen dudes get fired behind it, but we've also seen where you swing for the fence on a Trey Lance and you backdoor into a Brock Purdy. The draft is weird, man.
It's real
But
weird.
that's why we love it, and that's why we're gonna keep doing what we do, man. So let's take another break real quick, man, so we don't get fined or in trouble. But you already know, don't touch that dial. I'm Arthur Moats, that's Wesley Uhler, and this is the Steelers Blitz.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Alrighty, Arthur Moats, Wesley Uhler, back. Steelers Blitzing, doing what we do, final segment of the first hour. Talking this quarterback stuff, this pre-draft talk, and what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Who would have thought that we'll be in April on tax day, still trying to figure out this quarterback room?
I did not. Hand up. I did not think we would be here. But here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. And it is funny, man. We are definitely to that stage of pre-draft talk where guys have fallen, bumped up, and everything in between. And there is still the scenario where, like we said, we just did the exercise talking about where Shedeur Sanders could potentially fall, right? There's also a scenario where, hey, Tennessee could say, we don't care about what any of y'all saying. We're drafting Shedeur at 1 overall. And then the Browns can say, we're drafting Cam Ward at 2 overall. And now what? So from there, obviously, we still have this hodgepodge of other quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So the same way, man, we have updated our feelings throughout this process. Some of them other dudes, I know it was a point in time where the offseason was, it has to be Justin Fields. Then it was,
yep.
All right, we're going back to Rush. Then it was, what about Sam Darnold? Then it was, should we trade for Geno? And then it was, all right, it's definitely going to be Rodgers now. And then it was, we're going to draft a quarterback. Then we was going to wait for Rodgers. Then we're going to draft quarterback. And then we wait for Rodgers. Now we're kind of like in between.
We're picking the petals off the flowers,
yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, we're kind of right there right now.
He loves me not.
Yeah.
He loves me.
Yeah, we're kind of there right now. So with that, though, just wanted to, go back to the other quarterbacks now that we've had more information, more pro days, more time to assessment. We've seen Shedeur Sanders in a showcase. But how are we feeling now about Jackson Dart, Will Howard, Tyler Shuck, and Jalen Milroe? A week away from the draft now. And to be a little bit more specific, how you're feeling about them, obviously take that, openly. But then from there, how you feeling about them in the sense of, if I have to order my operations, what's my pecking order?
Yeah. I will say this, and I'm glad. I think this is actually fun because we do. You remember last week I gave you that fancy word pedantic, right? Remember that's a big word like knee jerk.
Yeah,
it's like when you become hyper focused, like too obsessed with like certain details or certain details.
But you don't want to ever be hyperbolic. Okay,
that's right. You don't want to be hyperbolic either. We could get too pedantic, too focused on details during this draft process. But going like 30,000 foot view back on this quarterback group, I think I'm like a little bit higher on this quarterback group than kind of the narrative that's been spun since the end of the college football season. It's
What's
not
that narrative?
The narrative was this quarterback class stinks, and that it's the Brock Purdy year. I think we should start calling it, to be respectful to him. It's the Kenny Pickett year all over again. I don't think that's true. It is not last year's draft class. I'm not through the roof. There's going to be 5 guys drafted in the first round type draft class. But I do think there's a lot of intrigue at different spots, like the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Cam Ward, top pick, second pick, third pick. Shedeur Sanders, first round, top 10, top 20, 21, whatever. And then like Jackson Dart, where do you take him? The Jalen Milrose and the Tyler Shucks, where do you take them? The Will Howards and the Quinn Ewers, right? Like, where do you take them? I think there's a lot of intrigue in this. And I do agree with the overall thought process that the top guys are Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. I agree with that. I think you and I have been on that same page as well too. I am very everybody else after that. It's tough for me to give like a. They all have something that sticks in my craw that would. I'm like, do I want to put them at number 3? I think I would go
Yeah.
Jackson Dart. I think I would go Jackson Dart. But like the example for him is you know you and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Um, I think Lane Kiffin runs an offense in college football that is crazy friendly to quarterbacks, and I love his offense for college football. But I think at times it can make the struggle to the next level a little bit harder to evaluate with guys like Matt
Yeah.
Corral when he came out of Ole Miss a couple years ago as well too. But that's the thing for Jackson. You know, Tyler Shuck, man, his tape from this past year is great, but he's 57 years old. Okay, no, I'm being facetious, but he was what? He's 25, 26. I mean, he
Yeah,
is very
26. Yeah.
he's very old. He spent a long time. A lot of the jokes that people made about Kenny Pickett being in college for 7 years, like, that was actually Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
Um,
Michael Penix too, though. If you think about it, Bo Nix, they all old heads.
they are, yeah. I mean, they are. But even Shuck is like a year too older
He's
than
older than
those
them.
guys were.
Yeah.
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 Milrow, Howard, guys like Kyle McCord. Like, I think one of those guys that I just mentioned is going to hit and have a really nice long NFL career out of this group. I think I would go Cam Ward 1, Shador Sanders 2, Jackson Dart 3. Mm. Mm. Man. Then it would be Milrow or Shuck, 3 or 4. It would be those two, 3 or 4. I think. Oh man.
So you like Shuck
Or
over Howard?
sorry. Dart 3, and then I mean Shuck or Milrow 4 and 5. Sorry. Give me Shuck at 4. Give me Milrow 5. Give me Howard 6. Then it would probably be Quinn Ewers or Kyle McCord for
Okay.
7 and 8. It's tough. It's really I could be convinced probably any way to move those guys around.
Yeah. I could dig that. And like I said, I'm not far off with you. Yeah, top two were the same with that though. Cam Ward, Shador. I think the difference is middle on. For me, I like Milrow, man. I would much rather, yeah, I have Milrow at 3. And yeah, I go Milrow. I'm back and forth on Dart versus Will Howard. I love Dart in terms of, him prolific, in terms of what he was able to do in the offense with Lane Kiffin. But to me, man, there's something about postseason football. There's something about playing against the best in the world, man. There's something about having to show up. And there's something about handling adversity. You got whooped in Michigan. Or not whooped, but you lost a Michigan game, man, that had everybody ready to fire your head coach and run everybody out of town. Stock was at its lowest. Shout out to y'all. All right.
Bye,
But
bye, bye, bye,
instead,
bye, bye, bye.
but instead of selling, my man doubled down, huh? He rode the wave. And he hit him for the gusto, all right?
Mad Money with Arthur Moats.
But to me, man, I like that about Will Howard. I like the fact that, he had to have some adversity. I like the fact that it wasn't smooth and, you have all these elite pieces around you and it just makes it easy. No, that wasn't the case. He had to play better, but you saw him play better. You saw him make some big plays, man. And I think athletically he presents some nice things. But I'm not saying that, he's a perfect player by no means. But I just think that I like his well-rounded game along with his mobility and the fact that he was having to do it in the postseason versus the best of the best college teams a little bit more than I like Jackson Dart's profile, arm, aggressiveness, because Dart is aggressive also. He got a little aggressiveness in him. He got some aggressiveness in him, man. Yeah. And that's him and Cam Ward. I'm like, y'all aggressiveness makes me hesitant on y'all at the NFL level because as you've seen with Josh Allen, it took him some years to figure out, bro, your arm is not better than these professional athletes on that back end, man. All right. We get paid a lot of money to do this thing, man. And it's a lot of idiots at quarterback that swear they aren't can do it. And you see why we get paid as much as we get paid, man. I feel like he's still gonna have to learn that a little bit more, both of them dudes. And
A
yeah,
little
that
bit.
makes I just don't like that per se. So that's why I have Will Howard ahead of Jackson Dart. But then from there, man, I'll probably go Shuck. Mm,
That's
Ewers
when it
because I like
really
his
gets interesting.
commercials. I like Ewers commercials better, so I'll throw Ewers in there. Uh, yeah, and I guess that's where McCord falls on it. But I'm like back and forth from like when I get to that portion,
Yeah.
I'm just like I don't feel like I can go wrong. Think of just it is what it is there. But my top like the top four is what I feel like the strongest about. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
or actually top five. Yeah, when you throw in Jackson Dart, Milrow, and Will Howard into the mix. Shuck, like I said, I like Shuck a lot. I'm not crazy about the older guy. It's because like you're the older guy, and when you
Not
come
like
to that
20,
next
not like
level,
23, 24.
yeah, and at the next level, it's just a little different. That's all, just a little different. But
Yeah.
hey, man,
I
we've seen a Chris Winkie and a Brandon Whedon. We've seen some 28s, come on out there and try their luck with it.
That hasn't necessarily helped his case.
We've seen them give it a go. The super senior come out there. He was whooping up on them 18-year-old college kids till he had to face a 24-year-old with grown man strength and a kid. Hey, changed the game. He said he got a mortgage, baby. Hey, what's up? Now we legal here. Hey, let's do it together now.
Hey, maybe Tyler will be the exception to the rule here, all right?
Never know. You never know. But shout out to these quarterbacks though, man. And like I said, it's going to be interesting though as the draft continues to get here because we are a little bit over a week away now, man. From knowing something. So
Mhm.
we will find out, man. But don't touch that dial. That will end the first hour of today's show. Excuse me on that one. Allergies, whoo, baby, you gotta love them. You gotta love them. It's that time of year. But don't touch that dial. Arthur Most Wesley. This is the Steelers Blitz on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
Uhler and Moats are on the air. This is the Steelers Blitz on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR. Steelers Nation Radio.
Alrighty, you know what time it is. Hour number 2. Arthur Most Wesley Uhler, Steelers Blitz. And I hope y'all are feeling good. So Steelers Nation, how we feeling out there?
Delightful.
Oh, hey now. It's officially a party. And that's what I love to see. But let's keep this thing going, man, as we are in the heart of off season, a little over a week away from the NFL draft. And we're still talking quarterback. But shout out to those quarterbacks at the NFL level. They do matter, and we do appreciate them.
Prom kings.
They get a lot of love, though, and rightfully so. They mean a lot. But we happen to have somebody also that means a lot to us that doesn't play quarterback, but his impact is quarterback E. Goes by the name of TJ Watt. Shout out to TJ Watt. Shout out to TJ Watt. Now, the last time me and you were having a conversation, and we were, on air getting our conversations, our takes. We were reacting to TJ Watt posting something on his social media channels, on the Instagram stories. Nice little beautiful picture of him in the away white uniform, 2 fingers up, piecing it out. From, I think it was, Cincinnati. He might have been like, yeah, I just walked off on y'all, just got another victory. I'll holler at y'all. Peace. I think that's what it was. And when he put it up there, he didn't put any words. So a lot of people were, left speculating what it could or could not mean. Me and you kind of talked about it. I left feeling good about him just ultimately, propositioning for baby number 2. I ain't tripping on that. Let the lovers win. I love love. Okay. But unfortunately, it seems like some of those analysts, them pundits, them insiders seem to be inside of the conversation a little bit more than what I would like. And yeah, it doesn't seem like he was asking for baby number 2. seem that he might be trying to apply a little pressure to a situation that isn't going in the way that we would like. So I just need to know how you're feeling now that we have a little bit more clarity about what's kind of going on. We still don't have a hard stance because we didn't get another follow-up post by TJ. But we got some rapport, we got some of this person, we got some of that person, and all roads lead to contracts negotiations not being as smooth as we would like them to be.
Yeah, and I do think that is safe to think at this point, but I would also say too, I think I said this
Take
to
your
you
thoughts with a grain of salt,
I said this to you last
or take
week.
my thoughts with a grain of sugar. Which one is? It's one of them.
I prefer salt to sugar.
Okay, I like sugar over salt
Do
because
you?
sugar and spice and everything nice. Yeah.
But do you like margarita? Like you do a salt rim or a sugar rim or
Oh,
not? I guess you could do neither. Some people just straight up,
well, I
I
prefer
like
a
the
little.
salt.
I
I
use
like the
chemical
salt.
X and just spice it up a little bit. Give me a little bit of pop at the end of it.
Um, that contract negotiations hardly ever go as smoothly as we want them to.
That is not
Particularly,
what you told me.
that's
You
what I
told
told
me
you.
every time you ask for a new deal, you get new deal plus some. That's
Always.
what you told me. You said they don't even
In
rebuttal. It's
fact,
just like, all right,
in
here,
fa-
take double.
in fact, in my 11, 12 years in this business since I graduated college, Arthur Moats,
Hey,
I've found that all you have to do is just walk in and they say, you know what, we're going to give you a
hey,
raise.
what
You don't
Wes
even have
Wes
to
said.
ask. We're going to give you one. We love you so much.
Wes said, man, I just showed up one day, combed my hair, and they had me on the private play with Mr. Rooney next day. I said, man, Wes, hey, bro,
every 12
how
every
that work for
12
you, bro?
months
Yeah,
every
man.
12 months they call me into the office and they say we would be lost without you. Here is a massive raise. Thank you so much for staying.
They even give them extra per diem on the road. Here. I want you to hit the fancy restaurants on us.
Whether it is everyday people like me and Yins, or whether you are negotiating, and I don't mean Arthur Moats, I mean like me and the people listening,
Hey, I don't do that. I'm supposed to part of the group. I was like, I'm a part of the
or
group
whether
too.
or
Yeah.
whether you're negotiating $100 million contracts.
Oh, I ain't in that category. No, I ain't in that one.
Negotiations, hardly anything that involves two parties in a big business deal and a commitment and all this is ever as easy or as smooth as you think or even hopeful it is going to be. It is sometimes. There are some times that it's easier than others. But I think quite often, even when it's players of the caliber of a Trent
Yeah.
Jordan Watt, like a Ben Roethlisberger or an Antonio Brown, or people that are at the absolute 1% of the
The $100
1%
million
of their
range. Yeah.
craft, there's going to be some back and forth. There's going to be a little jockeying for some position in the public. That's just the nature of these things. I do still think that TJ Watt is going to get a contract extension and end his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I still think he wants that. I still think the team wants that. Well, we can argue about positions of power and price and haggling and should the Steelers have gotten this done earlier? Should all these different things. I am still confident that it's going to get done. But I also am aware that there could be a little bit more turbulence between now and then, Arthur Moats. But I
What do
do
you
also
think the
think it's
sticker point could be, though?
well. Listen, if TJ wants to be paid more money than Myles Garrett,
Is that a sticking point to you, Wes?
it's not a sticking point to me.
Is that a sticking point then, Wes?
It's not a sticking point to me. It would not be a deal breaker for me. I think you and I did this in the conversation like last week or at some
Yeah.
point, talking about how you can make a very reasonable argument that at the point in their careers that they're at, that Myles Garrett should be making a little bit more money than TJ Watt. I also think from TJ Watt's standpoint, it's very easy to look and
Oh,
say,
dang.
look at what I've done
Yeah.
here. I am,
Even
now
my worst year, I'm still better than him.
exactly right. So, um,
And I
now
haven't dropped off. When have I dropped off?
when guys like Micah Parsons and Max Crosby get into this conversation as well too, who knows how that all looks, right? But
Remember, Max is getting 37 and a half.
it is it is not unreasonable for TJ Watt and his agent to say we want to be the highest paid, defensive player in football again.
Wes, my question to you is what metric would we use that would put TJ Watt behind Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, or Max Crosby as it pertains to on-field production in the past 5 years?
Nothing. The only thing you could point to is their age. That's it.
And we're talking about a position that ages pretty well. It's not like running back. It's not like cornerback. It actually ages well. You can play high 30s at the pass rusher position just because it's not the same wear and tear. And once you got that skill, you got that skill.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point are we saying, hey, TJ, you should talk about taking less than one of those three? Well, you already gave us less on the first deal. You ain't hit us for 30. You hit us for 28.
Yeah,
am I missing something?
No. And listen.
You won a depoy, and even when you didn't win the next depoy, we all league wide look at Myles Garrett and say, bro, that ain't even yours. And we don't even got to be Steeler fans. What did you do better? PFF created, remember they started creating stats. Pass rush win rate. We said, bro, you can win a depoy off of pass rush win rate? All right, cool. We all said the same thing, right? League-wide. It was like, oh, this is different. But now that it's time to come to the table and be rewarded for my excellence and sustained dominance for the position that is debatable second most important position on your roster between pass rusher and left tackle. Second most important position behind quarterback. That guy that has always delivered.
Yeah, and he's not 34 years old either.
I'm like, he's not coming off of any major injury.
He's not washed up like me, 34 years old.
I'm just trying to figure out where the sticking point lies. Or are we just sticking just to stick? Are we just, hey, because the negotiation isn't supposed to go smooth, let me just say something to make it not go smooth? Is that what we're doing? Because if that's the case, then I think it's completely asinine. But that's for another day. And I do understand that some people do that. They're like, hey, man, you got to do it because you're supposed to do this. Like, no, you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to. Sometimes you can say, hey, bro, you want 41? Here, take the 41 because you're worth 41. You actually worth 45, but I give you 41. Because we already seen your wins and losses impact when you are on the field and when you're not on the field. We already know how you impact the game.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe part of this too is certainly right now the question of how much cap space is going to be taken up by your quarterback, right? And how much easier then that would be to get a TJ Watt deal done. But
we appreciate you, but we got to wait for Aaron Rodgers before we can decide if we're going to up your score or not.
I think even the biggest Steeler hater and detractor would tell you TJ Watt's second or third best at his position in the world. The biggest hater and detractor would admit he's second or third best at what he does in the world. And when you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and every year is a year to contend and win games, you keep those guys around. But you know what? It is funny though, Arthur. But it's like you put a TJ Watt contract on Google right now.
Mm-hmm.
Every other news outlet that needs some content to fill right now is putting together how do we land TJ Watt trade packages on the Google news page here.
I saw a thing say
TJ Watt, Eagles, Niners,
I seen
and
them
Bears
say Dak
outlets talking about what it would take to trade for TJ Watt.
I saw Dak Prescott. They were like, yo, is there a package where you could trade for Dak? I'm like, yo, we're to there. But once again, this is TJ Watt. Dude has been top 3 at his position since he's coming to the NFL.
Chicago Sports, trade pitch that could land Bears, TJ Watt for Godfather Hall.
What's the package, man? I want to hear what this package is, man.
Some Bay Area TJ Watt for Brock Purdy proposal. Get out of here.
I don't hate it.
Get out of here.
You don't want a quarterback? What's the
TWS.
haul? What's the haul? I need to know the haul in these.
Could TJ Watt be traded to the Philadelphia Eagles? All right, you want to see what the
For
Chicago
Jalen Hurts? Yeah,
Listen, I know we
let's
got to
read
get to
the
break
packages,
here,
man.
but
Hurry up. Do it fast. Do it fast so we go to break.
Let me get out of it. Okay, hold on. Okay, they're speculating
Come on,
about the
man.
contract. Okay, the Bears send their 10th overall
The
pick
Bears.
in the Bears. Dicka. The Bears
Mhm.
send their first overall pick in this upcoming draft next week. That's 10th overall.
Oh, you pump fake me. I thought you meant like the first. I was like, they don't pick one overall.
No, I did. If you're, yeah,
Their
this is a radio
first round
medium, but I
pick. I
put
was
my
like,
finger
what?
up like it was a one. Sorry, I meant one as in this is the first part of the deal. Like this is the first piece of the puzzle.
It's like, hold on, man.
First, it's this year's first round pick, 2025 for the Bears, 10th overall. Next year's 2026 first and second round picks as well, which they say they think the Steelers would really like because then they would have 2 first round and 2 second round picks in their hometown draft in front of their own hometown crowd. And then they talk about, the contract that they would have to give TJ Watt as well too. So their trade proposal was 2 first rounders and a second round pick.
I like the capital. I need a guy though. I like the capital though.
I
don't
like
hate
the
that
capital, and I like the chance
capital.
of getting another top 10 or top 15 first round pick out of that again next year from that organization.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've done business with y'all before. We win a lot of those deals. I do feel good about that.
This second round pick might be a top 40 pick.
Hey, bro, I feel good about the picks. All right. I feel good about the capital. I just play your part, but I feel great. Chicago's picks. Chicago do me right.
So that was what they suggested. That was their blockbuster there in Chicago.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate
listen,
that.
I don't hate that. At least that's 2 first rounds, and I said at least that's reasonable.
That's
okay,
right. That's reasonable. Yeah.
I don't even want to click on this one with Brock Purdy. That's just clickbait.
I'm like, what type of deal is with Brock Purdy?
Click on it?
Click on it. Click
no,
on it,
I like to
man.
think of myself as an educated, reasonable consumer. I don't want to. Okay, I'm going to click on it.
Come on, man. This is called like crowdsourcing, man. You got to get information from multiple venues, and then from there, man, we could put our, thoughts, comments together and come up with a conclusion surrounding this here trade proposal. Shout out to the Chicago Packers, though. I like the Chicago Packers. That's halfway decent, man.
All it says is Brock Purdy and draft picks. It doesn't really specify as much detail as that last one did.
So swap a player and swap first round pick, maybe. Because both guys got to get quarterback, got to get deals done. So swap Purdy for TJ Watt, and then where are they picking in the first round?
They're in the like
'Cause they're
11,
ahead of us,
12,
right?
13, 14
Yeah,
range.
you see
They're
what I
just
mean?
outside of the top 10.
Yeah, so you're swapping 21 to 11 and maybe throwing another like mid round or late pick. That's probably it.
They are picking 11th. Yeah. So right behind.
So you moving up 10 spots. Yeah.
I don't know.
You get the quarterback answer at least.
I don't know about that. Man, these Eagles are coming after 2 different Eagles.
What the Eagles talking about?
I don't see any specific offer. They're just talking about like.
Does it have Jalen Hurts anywhere in the conversation?
should the Eagles be in on the trying to acquire the services of TJ Watt?
Is Jalen Hurts a part of the conversation in any capacity? Hurts.
No. I mean, it's funny. They got a picture of him in this article, but he's not mentioned.
That's all I care about. I'm like, is Jalen Hurts a part of that convo? Because if he is, way different conversation.
He is not. No, he is not.
Brock Purdy,
I like that the very end
of
this article out of Philadelphia ends with, however, the Steelers haven't expressed any interest in trading TJ Watt.
Hey, not yet. But hey, the same way when Myles Garrett said he was looking to get traded, I'm sure that phone turned into, what's the number? Just out of curiosity, what's the number? Then you saw him sign for $40 million. You're like, got you. We ain't want that number. I'm sure people are gonna call, hey man. Just out of curiosity, what's the number? What you think it'll be?
So everybody's got time to kill this time of year.
And it's always weird until it's not. Just remember that, man.
Oh, wait, here's another one. Yahoo Sports yesterday.
What Yahoo talking about? What they got for us?
Could the Cowboys trade Dak Prescott to the Steelers
That's
for
the one I
TJ
saw.
Watt?
That's the one I saw. I saw the Dak one. Yeah. Because I was a little bit intrigued by it, but
They
I
do have Joe
still.
Milton the third now. I mean, come on.
Well, no, it's not just that. They were saying how if you do the trade, you swap it in the first round as well. That would move us back, but then from there, Shador would be falling the same range, and now you get that same quarterback. But instead of picking him at 12, you're picking him at 21. You offload Dak's contract, and then for the Steelers, you get obviously Dak, franchise quarterback, and you don't have to deal with TJ's contract, but you take on a massive contract, but you have
Right.
the quarterback. So
Right.
yeah, but I'm like,
I'm
if
good.
you're Dallas, why would you do that? I'm like, if you're Dallas, you already got the scenario. You got the quarterback and the pass rusher in Parsons.
Yeah, it doesn't make
I'm gonna
much
have two
sense.
pass rushers and no quarterback. Yeah,
Why would I want to have the two highest or two of the top
you
three
see
or
what
four
I mean?
highest paid pass rushers in the league? That makes no
Yeah,
sense. That's not the best use of your resources.
yeah. So they like, hey man, go draft that young quarterback. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that one either. I'm just glad that TJ's on our team.
Same.
Okay, that's what I like. He's on our team. But yeah, we do gotta get us a quarterback though. All right,
We
but
do.
we will see how this thing plays out though, man. But the contract is it's gonna get interesting. It's gonna get real interesting. But you already know the drill. Don't touch that dials. Art the most. That's Wesley Uhler, and this is the Steelers Blitz.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Art the most. Wesley Uhler back in the second to last segment of today's show. Having an absolute blast with the Steelers Blitz. Art the most. Wesley Uhler. And we've been focused mainly at the NFL level, man, on, everything surrounding the Steelers in this quarterback scenario. But there was also something else that was going on surrounding quarterbacks. And, the overall impact on teams, but also, man, something that's kind of developing at the collegiate level that we might have to, get ready to start dealing with and engaging with sooner rather than later. But talking about down at Tennessee, University of Tennessee over the weekend, man, Nico Amaliava, the quarterback down there, currently had a $2.5 million NIL agreement where, he's been the starting quarterback, led them to the college playoffs where they obviously got beat, and everything on paper seemed pretty good. Obviously, it was going like it was supposed to. Spring practices were getting ready to start, and he was a no-show for practice and meeting. So from there, the reports come out that Nico was holding out and looking for a bigger deal, upwards of $4 to $4.5 million. Compared to the deal that he was already under. So then a day later, man, head coach of Tennessee, Josh Heupel, comes out and he says that he informed the team that Nico is no longer a part of the team and they're going to be moving forward without him. So from there, man, we get some information, some backstory about how Nico and him, this information kind of came out. And it was Dan Lanning, the coach over at Oregon, was basically the ones who kind of opened up and told what was going on. Essentially, that Nico was shopping around, trying to see, who would be willing to pay X amount more than what his current deal was. And from there, Dan ultimately was the one who had reached out and kind of, put the spotlight on everything that was taking place. So here we are. And the reason why, like I said, I didn't want to talk to you about it is because these are a lot of these kids that we're going to be drafting and dealing with. I mean, some of them we already have drafted, but this, upcoming draft and going forward, these are all going to be kids coming from this type of scenario. So I just wanted to see what your thoughts were, though, on the Nico situation down in Tennessee, man.
Yeah, it's wild. And honestly, I'm surprised we haven't seen something this, because there's been similar things like this that have happened in the NIL era, but this is, I think, the most high profile one, certainly to this point. Quarterback at a big SEC school.
Good quarterback, too.
Yeah, one who is, on lists next year for, being a potential
Yeah.
first round pick and all those
Highly
things.
recruited coming out of high school and
Yep.
everything. Yeah.
Five-star recruit, all of that. Yep. Um, Part of me is surprised that it's taken so long for something like this to happen with somebody high profile like this, because it is the Wild West now in college athletics. It's year to year contracts, it's year to year free agency, and I do think we'll get to a point. This is a totally different than what you've asked, but I do think we'll get to a point where we're going to see some more parameters around this, right? Like NIL and everything is still going to exist. It's not going anywhere. College athletics are moving closer towards a pro model, not further away from them. But with that closer to a pro model, you need some, I think, some more just clarity with contracts and movement and all of those things. Um I man, I like, it's such a unique situation because I think he's going to get paid. I mean, it's some booster somewhere is going to go, yeah, I'll sign the check to get this talent. If that's gonna be the difference between my team winning 8 games and 10 games, I'll pay for it. Absolutely, But I don't think there's a real winner. I don't think Tennessee is going to be better off for having, rightfully played hardball with him. I don't think he's going to end up in a better program,
Yeah.
than Tennessee
Let's
that
say
would
because he can't go SEC right now.
can't go SEC right now, and like some of the other places
Oregon's
that
probably
he's
off the list now too.
Oregon, I think, would be off the list
Yeah.
now as well. Like it's been reported. I think he's going to
They
take a
said
visit to like
UNC is off the list,
UNC. Is
but
that
they
off
said
the list
UNC is
too?
off the list now. Yeah, UNC is off the list.
Texas Tech, UCLA, and
Yeah, I think I saw UCLA. Yeah, yeah.
those are good programs. But it wasn't going to
Man,
give him the
stop playing,
expo.
bro.
They're not Tennessee in the
Stop
SEC.
playing.
Like they're not.
I'm about to
I mean,
say, I know we're not about to do UCLA.
no.
Heck no,
So
bro. Heck no.
I don't think it's going to, in the long term, end up better for him. I don't think it's going to end up better for Tennessee this year unless they hit an absolute home run and the next guy that they bring in the portal
Oh,
now.
I'm about to say, the portal opens up in a day.
It does open up, but yeah, you're right. It does open up tomorrow.
All
Wow.
right, all right.
So, too, like I am so happy that these guys are finally getting paid. But I also there needs, this is a little too Wild Westy at the same time. And this might finally be the moment that gets the attention and happens at a program and a conference big enough with a player big enough to maybe get some more of a look taken at this thing. But man, I don't know. I think it might also just open up the door for this to happen more often as well, too.
Wes, they said the gentleman was considering sitting out the playoff game. They said, my man, his representative said, yo, this is for 12 games. We're in the playoffs now. This
That's
is
a
a
slippery
13th
slope,
game.
man.
This is different.
That's a slippery slope, man. Like that's
Ooh,
'cause
I said,
you get into the
you ain't
NFL and
negotiate that on the front end, like, and this is the difference. Like, I feel like professionally, we have to negotiate this on the front end. I remember having my big
playoff
grievance when we went to the
bonuses and
playoffs.
yep.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, I'm clearing, something ridiculous per game regular season. And his playoffs, the games matter more. Is more eyes on me. Is more competition out there. I'm taking more added risk. Yet I'm getting paid not even
A fraction.
10%. I'm getting 5% of what I would make on a regular game. I'm like, bro, what is this? But it's frowned upon if I complain. Like, no, man. But it's part of the contract. And ahead of time, hey, if you care about the postseason like that and you're anticipating going to the postseason, you need to negotiate that type of money or those type of bonuses in your deal now. So when I look at Nico, I'm like, man, I'm all for athletes getting paid. I'm pre NIL era. I remember how excited we were, man, when that fight was happening over NCAA. Granted, we stopped having NCAA because of the fight, but at the same time, it was like we all got checks because of that. It was like, yo, it felt good to be compensated, man. So I can only imagine when you're talking about millions at this level, man, it's all about maximizing your earning power. And in football, we know you're literally one play away. So I don't fault the mindset. I don't fault even whoever is in his corner, whether it's agent, father, Tell him to go pursue and try to get as much as he can get. My caution is this though. You're no longer, I mean, I don't look at you as student athletes. I look at you as employees, man. And you're an employee. When you're getting paid M's, you're an employee, man. But it's like when you get paid like that, you're no longer a kid, man. You're playing a grown man's game. And the same way, if this was in a non-business sense and you saw a little kid coming over doing grown people stuff, we'd be like, hey, you playing this game, man, you could get hurt. Be careful. And if they don't listen, you see that young guy get hurt, and it's like, oh, it's such a sad story. But you was playing with grown folks, and this is kind of what happens when you play this grown folk game. Well, when I'm looking at Nico, I'm like, yeah, you had the 2.5 secured, but you wanted to leverage your brand. You wanted to leverage the success that you had, the leverage, the team as a whole going to the postseason largely due to what you did at quarterback. And yeah, you want to maximize that. I don't hate it. But just know when you play this game, you're playing chicken and somebody's going to blink. And a lot of times the big bag people, they're not blinking like that. And for Josh Heupel, he'll be able to secure a moral victory and pay another quarterback $3.5 million just solely on the strength that you wanted 4.5. And that's how some of these dudes will play it. Some of these boosters will say, man, I'll pay this dude that much. I'd rather pay him 4.5. You know why? Because he didn't ask. He didn't ask for 4.5.
No,
so I'd rather pay him 4.5. You see what I mean?
There's a lot of stubborn pride in collegiate athletics and particularly football.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're going to ask the big booster at UCLA whose program is trash. And we're going to say, hey, if you get Nico for 4.5, man, he might get you 8 wins. Come on, baby. Yeah. That's a tough ask, man. And that's the part for me where I'm like, I don't think Nico is going to lose, because when you're getting 2 million anywhere, you're not losing. Let's not get that twisted.
No doubt.
But I do think he has more negative ramifications than Tennessee. Tennessee can go out there and suck all year. They're not going to have a bad look. Why? Because we know what this is and we know what they stood for. And a lot of people respect what Tennessee stood for. A lot of people respect Dan Lanning for even calling it out, because this is what Nick Saban, this is what Primetime, Deion Sanders, this is what Dabo Sweet, like all these dudes that we laugh about. This is the stuff that they talk about that happens behind closed doors. This is just the first time it's been publicly put out there for everybody to see it. And it's like, man, you've introduced this. So when you play this game, people are going to look at you differently. And now you got to walk around with the he's greedy label, because UCLA, Texas Tech, and all these other schools are going to look at you and ask, okay, are you an entitled, spoiled brat who, you aren't underpaid. You're getting 2.5 million.
Like, are you coming here to play? Or are you coming here
to
just get a payday? Yeah.
Because it's not like you were underpaid. You get 2.5 million in college, bro. What are we talking about here?
It's pretty good.
The deal that you're trying to get, sans endorsements, would have paid him more than Brock Purdy has made on his rookie salary if you got $4.5 million. Let's put it into context. Brock Purdy, who has led the San Francisco 49ers to the NFC Championship game 2 times, led to the Super Bowl as well. Lost in overtime to the guy that we're saying is arguably the second best quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes. And this kid it wasn't like Tennessee ran the table. It wasn't like Tennessee was a Final Four. It wasn't like Tennessee made the championship. We said they made the big expanded version of the college football playoff. And people were still debating should have been Bama. Don't forget that. And it's like, but you want to get paid how much?
That's true. That's like that. That's got to be more than Will Levis, right? I mean, the
all right.
I don't know. He was a second round pick.
Right. You start putting full value of his contract for 4 years is going to be highly debatable.
Oh no, Will Levis this year is making a little over $1 million.
Yeah.
His whole rookie contract.
That's what I'm saying.
Titans,
I said over the contract. It's for the full duration of the contract. That's what he's trying to make in a year is more than these guys are making over the span of 4 years. I'm like, yo, you're not Caleb Williams, bro. You're not. You're not. Shador wasn't even to get. Shador could ask for 4.5.
He would have been higher paid quarterback than the. Unless they took Cam Ward, he would have been higher paid than the Tennessee Titans. Like double. Like double the amount of the Tennessee Titans quarterback. That's kind of hilarious when you think about it. The college quarterback making more than the NFL quarterback in the same state.
So when you throw all that into context, and now you see this kid moving the way that he's moving, I don't see any shame towards Tennessee. I think Tennessee is still going to be fine. They're going to hit it in the transfer portal. But I think for this kid, this is something that he's going to have to deal with. And in a couple of years, when it's NFL draft time, what do you think we're going to be asking?
Oh my gosh.
What do you think everybody's going to ask him?
Regardless
of
yeah, right. Are you going to be looking to get out of your situation every year?
come on, bro.
Arguing
Come
about
on,
more
bro.
money all the time? Yeah.
Am I going to have to deal with holdouts every OTAs or hold-ins every mini camp?
Not great.
But this is
wouldn't call it great.
yeah. But like you said, man, once you get the first one out there, now it's like, all right, it's easy for the second guy to follow it up and then the third guy. And we'll see how this plays out. But until there are parameters, which I don't see even where those are going to be coming in, because that only benefits one side of it. And that benefits the side that has had the leverage this whole time. So if you're the player side, why would I do anything at this point to benefit you guys? We have generations of you doing us dirty. We got dudes that got awards taken from them that y'all turn your nose up. Like
time for that pendulum to swing the other way.
Look, because of 3 years of y'all feeling uncomfortable, now we supposed to go ahead and make all these accommodations for y'all. Like, no, man. I'd rather we burn down the NCAA before we do that. Be real about it.
I think a lot of people are in that same boat, and that's what.
Man,
it's why too. Like this, as much as college athletics, really, but particularly football, has changed in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like we might not be close to the end of that never-ending carousel. That might just really be getting started, which is crazy.
Very, very crazy, man. But let's take our final break real quick, man. So that way we don't get fined. And we don't have to negotiate to get more money with our contracts while we're already under contract and have everybody looking at us like we crazy and all that stuff. All right. So don't touch that dial. I'm Arthur Moats, that's Wesley Uhler, and this is the Steelers Blitz.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Arthur Moats, Wesley Uhler back for the final segment of today's show. And hopefully y'all have been enjoying it, as we kick that brand new flavor in your ear. Hey now. But since we are on the back end of this thing, I did want to take a little bit of time to acknowledge some of the guys that are doing their thing. Former black and gold guys, man, that are kicking butt in the UFL, that is still active and popping off, man. Just completed their third week of the season, man. And we have a plethora of former black and gold members doing their thing. But actually, one of those guys even making noise, man, getting some award/recognition. Nice. But just a quick, update on some of the names of the guys that are in there. Deion Kane, definitely remember the big wide receiver. Jace Sternberger, shout out that Jace, former draft pick for us. Carlos Davis, heard he has a mean right hook. He's also down there. Chappelle Russell, we remember him. Mm-hmm. Kenny Robinson, shout out to the WU product, man. We spent some time with us over the past year. Heck yeah. Trey Norwood, former draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anthony McFarland Jr. Shout out to Speed. Yes, indeed. Hakeem Butler down there making some noise as well. Hakeem. Denzel Mims. Yeah, productive down there. Also, former draft pick and former teammate of mine, Travis Feeney, linebacker down there, man. Heck yeah, still making some noise in that league. Quincy Roche. We all remember Quincy, man, was a preseason darling at one point for us, and former draft pick also. Kalen Balazs, played actually a good amount for us, man. His year that he was here in the black and gold. Zach Banner also down there. Shout out to Zach Banner, man. Yes, indeed. And Matt McCrane, man, former kicker for us during the Boz growing injury season. I think that was 2018, if I remember correctly, man. So good amount of guys, man, down there playing in the league. And like I said, man, some of the dudes that have actually made some noise in there, man. Kalen Ballage, man, we talked about running back. He set the UFL rushing record for a longest rushing touchdown. Had a 77-yard touchdown run in week 1 down there, man. Highly impressive, man. Showed some good speed, man, in open field, man. And I do like that because, like I said, man, it's a former league guy, man, and you want to look a certain way, man, just in the sense of if you're trying to prolong your career or even get a chance to get back to the NFL level, which we've seen multiples of these guys make that jump back to the NFL, man, coming from the UFL. Another guy, though, that has got some recognition, Matt McCray, like I talked about the kicker. He was the special teams player of the week a week ago, man. Hit a 53-yard field goal, man. It was, 3 of 3 on his kicks and all things like that. So liking that. And then you ready for another around
Okay.
the horn. But hey, man, we made it back to another black and golder. Another one of my former teammates. Aussie, a punter by the name of Brad Wing, also down there, man. But he actually just had his record tied this weekend for longest punt in UFL history with, tell me if you've heard this name before, Marquette King, former punter of the
Oh,
the Oakland Raiders. Heck yeah, man. The swaggiest punter alive, man. We get his dance on after all big kicks, if you remember. But Marquette King this past weekend had a 69-yard punt, which tied longest punt in UFL history with, like I said, Brad Wing, who also has a 69-yard punt. So, man, plenty of league guys, but plenty of former Steelers, man, still down there making some noise, man, prolonging their career. And
it's awesome.
shout out to one of these spring leagues, man, still kicking, huh? A couple years in this thing now.
It is great. You and I have, we spent some time in off seasons past talking about spring football and how, the NFL is like the only major professional sport in this country that like doesn't have its own minor league,
Yeah.
development system. The college football kind of is to an extent.
And they
Some of
starting to
these,
pay like it now.
or even better in some cases.
Hey, ain't that the truth, man?
But like baseball has the minor leagues, hockey has the minor leagues, the NBA has a minor league, the G League. So even if it's not directly tied to the NFL, like those teams have affiliate organizations in those other leagues, I still think something like this succeeding is good for the sport. And man, like you rattled off, that's a lot of familiar names there.
And those are just Steeler names.
Right.
Marquette
Right.
King was the only non-Steeler that I listed, and there is a ton of other just big name league guys playing in this league right now, man. And really making it something to be proud of, man. And that's the thing that I'm really impressed with.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. And again, like you and I both agreed that we want to see some type of viable, other league, if you will, that is professional football, not still collegiate as much as those waters have been
And
muddied
not
in the collegiate
Canadian
game.
either. And not
Not right,
Canadian.
not Canadian, not
Don't sell me
indoor
on that. Oh
football.
yeah, man. Just playing Canada's the same. That is not NFL football. That is
Yeah,
not
not three
American football.
downs and everything that they can do
It's different
there.
rules.
Not
Yeah,
indoor,
man.
not indoor league with different rules.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's great to see. It's great to see so many familiar names. And it's cool too, like because a lot of Steelers fans love following these guys when they leave. A lot of those guys that Moats mentioned, came from bigger college football programs, so it's fun to still see maybe your alma mater,
Choose
the
some
collegiate
Michigan,
program.
Clemson,
Yep.
USC, Oklahoma,
I was gonna say
West
like Trey Norwood, dude. You know how
Virginia.
long I've been watching Trey Norwood play football? I mean, because he played against WVU for 3 or 4
Uh-huh.
years, and
Think about
yeah,
Brad Wing, LSU, Zach Banner,
Oof.
USC, Hakeem Butler was at UNC. No, I don't remember. I gotta check with him,
Team
man.
Butler was he Iowa State?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking about the other one. I'm thinking about the Hakeem like from a while ago, man, with,
Yes,
with Mario Manningham, them boys. I'm like, yeah, that's not that
You
one.
were thinking yes,
Yeah.
no.
I'm like, no, not that Hakeem. No, no, no.
Yeah, Iowa State, Hakeem Butler, Iowa
Yeah.
State. Yeah,
Travis Feeney,
with
Washington. Come on, man.
old Brock Purdy at Iowa State.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's cool to see, and I hope those guys keep having success, and I hope the UFL keeps stability and success, and because I think it's good for the game.
Yeah, I would agree, man. Like I said, Give dudes, man, another avenue, man, whether that's extending their playing careers, not NFL wise, but just being able to, age out in a league like this, or for those guys that, on the front end are trying to make it into the league and they need more opportunities. They need more tape, man. They need to just show that they can. This gives them that. And then for the dudes that are going to say, man, you know what? I'm going to make this my NFL. How about that? Because ain't nothing wrong with that, man. It's I
Hey,
always say, man, it's what you make it. Life is what you make it. If you walk around and you tell yourself, bro, I'm winning, guess what? Well, you're winning. All right. Because I done seen a lot of people with a lot of paper to walk around every day to press the segment and they be checking out early on the self checkout vibe. We don't want to do that. All right. So, like I said, it's what you make it, man. So shout out to the UFL guys, though, man. But shout out to sports as a whole, man. You love to see it. And hopefully everybody can get their money, man. All right. So get your money, baby. Get your money. But that will conclude today's show because we have definitely made our money today and we're not about to overdo it because they don't pay us overtime. So shout out to the producer, Wesley Uhler, baby.
I'm gonna contract dispute. I'm holding out more money.
Hey, hey, hey. That means we can't start the show on time next week. I'm all cool with that. All right. With that also being the case, man, let me shout out the Power Grid, the megawatts, because y'all are holding in. All right. Y'all are with us. Y'all are saying we need more, more, more. So salute to each and every one of yins. All right. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, my partner in crime, that one and only man, Wesley Uhler.
Go Ears.
Hey now. Hey now. But like I said, that will conclude today's show. But hopefully y'all enjoyed it. You already know where to find us on your 24/7 home of the black and the gold.
It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.